Come and celebrate the holidays with Adam Carolla this December, Friday, December 5th at the brand new Santa Barbara Comedy Club. In Corona, California on Saturday, December 6th at Dos Lagos Amphitheater with Jay Moore. And on December 18th in Calabasas, California at the Sagebrush Cantina, a live Christmas podcast with Brad Williams. Get tickets for these shows and more at adamcarolla.com. A man with a construction fetish. If you build it, he will come. Adam Carolla.
So damn true. That's just on a job site. Get it on, man. Billy Gardell is here. I'm a big fan.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it very much.
Oh,
Thank
listen, I ran into Billy at Funny You Should Ask.
Yeah.
We're taping with Byron Allen and invited him to come on.
Very kind of you. Thank you.
Well, I remember.
I actually asked, and you said yes.
Okay.
So thank you.
Either way.
Let's be honest. I'm an honest guy.
I said to Rudy, just apropos of nothing, I don't know, several years ago, but not that long ago, I said, like, who's a really good stand-up comedian? Because Rudy knows the game.
Yeah.
Like, they're guys who play football, and then they're guys who know a lot about football. That's kind of
There's a lot of that going on right now.
Not a first rounder,
That's,
but he knows the stats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can't get a laugh, but if there was a fantasy football league for stand-up, I'd be
You'd
first
be killing
place.
it.
Yeah.
You'd be killing
Yeah,
it.
he's one of these guys where, like, sometimes there'll be a guy and I'll go, Rudy, you heard of this guy? And they'll go, I never heard of that guy. And they'll go, okay, that means he doesn't exist. Because Rudy, I said, give me a good, said
that's
Billy
very
Gardell.
kind.
I
Thanks,
said,
Rudy. I
super
appreciate that.
funny,
Thanks.
real, just great jokes, the kind of jokes you wish you'd thought of yourself.
I do all right, man. I always looked at myself as being like one molecule off from being a great comic. I was always like one molecule. I didn't ever quite break the glass ceiling, but I hold my own. I'm a good 6, 7, 8 hitter. You know what I mean?
Well, what is that thing? Like, I have those thoughts sometimes where it's like, I have probably the potential to be that guy, but I don't really go there. There's like a little hesitation. I mean, you could call it lazy.
I don't know if it's lazy.
I
I think it's what you're comfortable with, and I think I'm a big believer in you attract what you put out, and I've always my love for acting is where stand up led me to, and stand up it's like a deep rooted thing. I think in any stand up, we were talking about this before the show. Me and Rudy, like, you'll do it for a cheeseburger and you'll do it for $100,000, but what you want to convey, I think, is very important. Your voice is very important, and whether that's going to catch on to stadiums or theater, nobody gets to say that. Like, the general population kind of figured that out. I think the trick is to stay sane. You just stay authentic. But I always feel like I got like, okay, that's a decent level. You know what I mean? Like, even when I was on TV, I got to theaters that were, maybe 2,000 seats, and I got to casinos, which had big, but I never got into the arena level stuff. And I think after a long time of that, you go, okay, well, I got to be grateful for what I have achieved, and the fact that I can still do it at this age. I can still get out there at this age. After my whole career, I'm still, still on the map.
You're with a lighter footprint on that map because I think. Are you down 200 pounds from your
I'm down
peak?
173. 173 is what I took off, and that changed a lot on stage too, man. I took time off to get healthy, and when I did, I thought maybe I'm done with stand-up. I thought, all right, maybe I'm just at peace with this. I was doing my second sitcom, and it was during the COVID things where there was no audiences. So we had to do that so everybody could stay healthy and get through the filming. It was funny because there was a young show down the street, and those kids were going out every Friday, and they were getting shut down like every 2 weeks.
Sure.
So we just were the old people that just said, all right, well, we'll do what we got to do to keep this going. But in that time, I thought, I'm going to get healthy. And I thought, all right, I'm done with it. I think I'm done. I'm at peace with it. And then I went down and saw a buddy of mine, Ian Bagg, at the Irvine Improv, and he was having one of those nights. Those nights. There's nights where you're on stage and the back of your brain is going, did I shut off the stove while you're doing your act?
Sure.
You're kind of there, but you're not there. And then there's those nights where you lift your eyebrow and the audience is with you. And Ian was having one of those nights. And, man, I just got that weird twitch again. And I looked at my wife. I go, I think I'm going back. I think I'm going back. And I started beating around the clubs, and I found some joy in it again.
Oh, so what are you, 195 pounds now or something?
No, I'm 213. After the Thanksgiving holiday, the tape was a little heavier. I think I got up to 217 this week. But yeah.
But you were 400 pounds before.
I was 385 was my top end.
And how much of that was in your material?
Not a lot.
Which is good.
I had to acknowledge it. Because when you're that big, you got to take two, 3 shots at yourself just to make everybody else comfortable. And then I just moved on to what it was I wanted to talk about. And I wasn't a guy that was just doing 4,000 fat jokes. I think that's demeaning. In fact, one of the things I had to learn to get healthy was to look in the mirror and start saying, hey, man, I love you and I'm going to care about you. And as cheesy as that sounds, because where I grew up in Pittsburgh, those were not the thoughts that you said to yourself in the mirror. You were taught never to talk like that, But there was a therapist who gave me a great piece of advice that said, because I was always looking in the mirror going, lose weight, you fat so-and-so. Look at you, you mess. And that's not motivating, dude. That's from old high school coaches is all that is. What really changed it for me was learning how to care about myself. I don't think I knew how to do that. And I know that sounds a little sappy, but that's what changed the game for me.
Well, so a few things. It just drives me nuts when comedians rely on something, be it their weight, their ethnicity, lesbian, whatever. Ladies, single ladies. We got single ladies out there. Can we talk? It can be almost anything. I totally agree with you. Yeah. You have to address whatever your thing is.
Yeah, if you're tall, if you have a mark on your face, if you have something, you got to take that away from their attention span and then go into who you are.
Right. Yeah. But the reason you didn't lose your act is because it never was your act, which is good. Yeah. And I always appreciate it. And I actually respect it more. I love seeing a black comedian just get up and tell jokes, and little less could you imagine what it'd be like in the hood for, whatever. Yeah, it always feels kind of crutchy for me.
I think, if you lean on one thing, that's what you're going to be forever. And I think you might end up pretty frustrated. I think it's about shared experience. And I think that's the stuff that kind of moves you forward. That's just my opinion.
So in terms of your former self, was it that you ate enough to be that guy, or was it like, here's what I'll say.
What do you mean?
Well, here's what I mean. I was at a funeral, and my buddy Ray showed up, and Ray's 62 now, and he was later on when I was talking to some people afterward, they said, yeah, Ray was showing us his six-pack abs at 62, and I was like, wow, I remember seeing his six-pack abs when I was in the 5th grade. Yeah. So that's what he looked like. And then there are people, they're just cut. I was married to a woman who never had to work out, never had to do anything. Yeah. It always looked great in a bikini. Yeah. And it was always, they would go to her for advice. Like, what's your secret? Right. Wrong person to talk to about that. That's like asking how you got blue eyes or how I got tall or how any, no, wrong person. Right. They're not working at it. That's their cut. That's who they are. And they do it. I was thinking of, was it Elizabeth Hurley? Who was I thinking of from Austin Powers?
Yeah, Elizabeth Hurley?
Yeah, Elizabeth Hurley. Like, I was thinking about her last night in my quiet times. And I was like, people go to her and go, 60 years old, still looks amazing in a bikini. Yes, that's how she looks. Yeah. That's her cut. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying she, slams 12 packs of Heineken all night and then passes out with a 6-footer hoagie, but I'm saying that's how she looks. And we do that a lot. Like, what's your secret? And then there's a fat version of that, too, where it's like, my metabolism's not your metabolism. Yeah. And so I don't know. And then there's sort of, I'm addicted to food and I'm just fucking eating fast food all night and doing shit like that. But I don't know where you're at on that spectrum.
Well, I agree with you. I think you're dealt the genetic hand you're dealt. Okay, so you're going to have some stuff that you can't escape. You're just going to get through DNA. But then when you connect emotions positively or negatively to that hand, that's what makes that hand grow. And so for me, my dad was a little overweight, but not much. But I have some other heavier people in my family. But for me, mine came from when my parents got divorced. I had a pretty abusive second stepfather. Took some beatings. And so I started putting on
Second
weight.
stepfather.
Yeah.
Two-step dad club. You and me, Billy.
Yeah, there you go. So,
really?
So it was like...
Was the first stepdad abusive?
A little bit, but not as bad as the second guy.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
I caught some beatings. And when you do that, you have to protect yourself. And I didn't do it in the gym, but I just got big. And I played a little bit of sports when I was younger, so I could carry that weight and I carried it for a long time. But it took me 38 years, really, 40 years before I really realized you're wearing this protection for a beating that is no longer coming. And it took me that many years to figure that out before I could turn the car and go, hey, man, we don't have to be this. And what made me start looking at that was, I was overweight, type 2 diabetes. I was a smoker. I had sleep apnea. I mean, I had my resting heartbeat was like 140. That's just sitting still. Like I was a ticking time bomb. So, and then, look, my wife and kid are everything to me. That's just the life I live, and that's what makes me the happiest. And I started to really think, how is this affecting them? Am I going to be here for my son? And with the way the world's going, I got a 22-year-old, man. I need to be on the wall for him. And the things that my wife has stood with me through, all of it, man, she has earned a place now as we head towards, our fourth quarter, where she should have a husband that can go do things and be with her and make it about her. Because my wife has really stood beside me, in front of me, or behind me, whatever I've needed for 25 years. And so that's owed. I believe that's owed. And all of that kind of motivated it for me.
Beating of the stepkids, that's brash. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's balls, because I do think, I have kids, and I couldn't picture putting my hands on them, but if I did, at least it'd be my kid. Beating a stepkid, that's
It's
brash.
pretty dark. It's pretty dark. But
it's
you know
dark,
what?
and it's also pretty nervy too. It's kind of
is.
yelling at someone to get off your lawn, but it's not your house.
Yeah, and the blessing that came from that. Look, everything's perspective. You can open the door and go, it's raining, or you can open the door and go, it's raining. That's your only choice in the matter.
Right.
It's still going to rain.
Sure.
But the gift that came from that kind of upbringing is I've never laid a hand on my son. We've never had the "fuck you, old man." Oh, can I?
Yeah, go ahead. No, but
we've never had that. We've always been able to talk, and I set that in place because of what I went through. You know what I mean?
Right. But I never got beat, and I never beat my son. And so the problem is there's two arguments that society makes. You go, well, Adam's dad never hit him, so of course he doesn't hit his son because he didn't learn. And then you go, well, Billy learned firsthand how horrific.
Yeah.
But oftentimes people that get abused, they just continue the legacy of it.
Right.
And so the question, and I've asked this many, many times because I've talked to people throughout my career. Early when I was doing Loveline, it was always the daughter whose dad was a raging alcoholic, and now they're calling in because their husband's an alcoholic, and somehow she found the alcoholic guy, and then she recreated. And there was lots of musings about how do we figure out this process where firsthand how horrific it is to be married to an alcoholic because your dad was one, and then at some point you became attracted to that alcoholic, and then you marry that alcoholic, and now you have a kid, and that kid's experienced what you've experienced. How do we give people the insight to think how you thought, which is, I've seen it, and I wouldn't wish this upon anybody, when so many people repeat it? And by the way, that's the excuse they make. They go, well, his dad beat on him, so he that's his way. They give him an out a lot of the time.
They do, but to break that cycle, you have to be willing to do two things. You have to be willing to ask for help from someone who has a healthy perspective, and then you have to be willing to try different behavior. And what I just didn't want to do was, my dad was great. My dad was my hero. The stepfathers were the villains. So I did have a little bit of a good example, but that didn't work out between my mom and him.
How much onus of this is on your mom for...
I don't blame her for anything.
I blame her a little bit.
No. No, here's the thing, man.
Did she know?
You have to, yeah, I mean, but you're also, this is a time, this is 40 years ago, this is a time where, so much weird stuff was accepted back then. We hadn't evolved, I don't think, to where we are now. And I honestly believe that, sometimes you're just trying to keep it together and keep a roof over your kids' heads. You can't always just go, well, you just should have done this. Well, sometimes it's not possible to just do that. Mm-hmm. But I think in breaking the cycle, you think, all right, well, if I'm going to bring a child into this world, and I think it's just as important for people to know they don't want to do that. I respect either choice. But if you're going to bring a child into this world, you have to look at your playbook and go, what can I do differently that would be better for this person? What can I do to break the cycle of what I went through for this person? And if you make it about them, I think you have a chance of kind of course correcting some of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm a little blamed for Mom, though, because she brought the guy into the house.
She did everything she could do, man.
Yeah. Would he beat her if
no,
was he that kind of guy?
No, it was more about us.
Really?
Yeah.
How old were you?
I think I was probably between the ages of 10 and 15 when it was the worst. 10 and 15.
And he wouldn't go after her, but he would go after you.
No, but he was quick with that belt or quick with whatever was in his hand, and it was just, I'm sure that's what he learned, like we talk about. And that's not an excuse, but that's, until you're willing to unlearn that, you shouldn't be taking the driver's seat. But again, you can't, people fall in love. You hope for the best. You hope it's going to work out. But
was he an alcoholic?
One of them might have been, maybe right on the edge of it, and the other one's just angry.
Just stone cold sober.
Just angry.
Beating on a stranger's 9-year-old.
That all comes from, being filled with fear. I mean, fear outward is rage, fear inward is depression. So what are you afraid of? And most men are afraid to confront what they're afraid of. So, and God forbid you say it. You're not a man. All that shit.
But there's also something that's kind of interesting as I think about it, because you said 40 years ago. 40 years ago is 1985, and we had the flock of seagulls. We weren't a modern society. But I forget all the time that I grew up in Southern California in North Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And I'll talk to people who are my age, and they'll go, but they grew up in Louisiana. Mm-hmm. And they go, oh, yeah, they had a lot of racism in my school. And I go, we're the same age. I don't have any racism. What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, they were segregated this and segregated proms and this and that. It was a different time. But I realized the time was not so different in Southern California. Like we didn't... 40 years ago, we were real progressive, beating on the stepkid, racism, like whatever this was a different America kind of thing. We didn't really have that because we were so far, I want to say ahead, but everything was so progressive out here that the idea of like a segregated prom in my high school at North Hollywood High sounded insane. But if you grew up in Louisiana, you go, it's a different time. Mm-hmm. Cove Pure. Oh, man. Those people that are impossible to shop for? That may be me. Someone keeps getting me crappy things. I don't like that. This year, I found the perfect gift, a Cove Pure. Look, if you don't know, it's a countertop water purifier that's pretty amazing. I use it every day. I'll tell you what blew me away. You can choose your water temperature, so you can do hot, cold, or warm. I usually just go with the regular. No waiting minutes for a kettle or microwave to heat up. Microwave takes a long time to heat up a mug of water, by the way. I was shocked the first time it gave me a boiling water instantly. Perfect for late night drinks and early morning coffee. If you want a gift that matters this season, Cove Pure, well, that's where it's at. And it looks nice, too. It's like looks like a nice almost piece of furniture. It's beautiful. Doesn't take up too much room. It's Cove Pure, right, Dawson?
So if you're looking for a gift that's good for your loved ones and one they'll actually use, we highly recommend Cove Pure. And because we partnered with them, they're giving you a special $250 holiday discount with our link covepure.com/Adam. That's COVEPURE.com/Adam to get $250 off. covepure.com/Adam. Hurry before the sale ends.
Hims Hair. Hair loss isn't just about hair. It's about how you feel when you look in the mirror. You know the feeling. Try to figure out what actually works for hair loss. Confusing out there. Lots of promises being made. That's why I like Hims. Hims Hair. They give you clear solutions, expert guidance, and an online process that fits your life and your schedule. These components can help stop hair loss and even regrow some in as little as 3 to 6 months. Think of Hims as your digital front door to getting back to your old self with trusted treatments all in one place. It's Hims, right, Dawson?
For simple online access to personalized and affordable care for hair loss, ED, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/Adam. That's hims.com/Adam. For your free online visit, that's hims.com/Adam. Individual results may vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Featured products include compound drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. See website for full details, restrictions, and important safety information.
So we were at a different timeline here.
I agree, but I also think it always feels to me like anywhere there's a big city, because there's more kinds of people, different kinds of people, you learn to accept and get along better than you do in small towns. You just do. There's you see people of different nationalities and different cultures in big cities, and it just becomes the rhythm of the city. Yeah. So you have to learn to evolve like that. I think in a smaller town, the way you're raised is the way you're raised, and I do think hatred is taught. I think racism is taught. If you put 6 different babies in a crib, they don't know to hate each other. You learn that in the house. And if you never leave your little town, if you never leave your street, then all your you get into listening to the wrong stuff, or you get into a group that's just driving hate all the time. You don't know the experience to have a cognitive moment where you go, no, that's not true, because I've traveled here and I've seen this, and that's not all true. I don't understand that.
Did your stepdad hang around long enough to see your success, Mike and Molly, and all that stuff?
The guy that was the worst died. He actually died, and I really didn't care. After that guy was out of my life, I didn't really care.
How old were you when he died?
I think I was probably about 22 when I got that news.
Were you doing stand-up then?
Yeah. I had started stand-up at 17 in 1987. And by then I was out on the road, and a friend of the family had called and said he had passed away. And I was like, okay.
He must have been pretty young.
Me or the guy?
Him. Well, you were 22.
Yeah.
He was...
At that time, I think when he came into our lives, he was probably in his late 40s, and I was probably middle teens, somewhere in there. Yeah.
So he went... he didn't see 60.
No, I think his heart popped because he was walking around with, rage and anger and all that stuff that kills you, man.
Well, good. So he's gone. And what about the other guy?
The other guy eventually passed away too, and I think he had heart problems. But
did he? I guess what I'm saying is, I talked to a lot of athletes and a lot of people that dad was estranged. But I was curious, later on they get on TV or they win the Super Bowl or something.
They show back up, yeah.
Yeah, did the guy circle around?
No, nobody.
But he was around for Mike and Molly.
I don't know. I guess he was alive, but I didn't know.
I mean, he was alive.
No, because he was gone at 22. I didn't get Mike and Molly till I was 35.
Well, no, but there's 2 guys. One guy's gone at 22, and the other guy's gone at...
A little bit later, maybe 27.
Oh, okay.
So, they both kind of passed within 5 years. So, see, the universe takes care of its business.
Yeah,
man.
and I'm sorry, I didn't. You haven't mentioned yet what happened. Did your parents just get divorced? Did your dad die?
Yeah, no. They just split up when I was about, I want to say I was about 10 or 11.
Okay.
And then my dad was my hero. My dad was the guy that he was always in my corner. Like my dad always, my mom had the same worries any mother has. You want to quit the warehouse, working at a warehouse. You quit the warehouse? Are you crazy? You could be a foreman,
Yeah.
But that's a mother's worry. That's okay. But my dad was always like, you can do this. Because he wanted to be an artist and he never got to realize his dream. He wanted to be an animator for Disney. And he never got to realize his dream. So he was always behind me.
Was he around long enough?
Yes.
Wow.
And I got to do
story.
great stuff with him. It was funny because even when we were younger, like when I was 12 and my brother and sister were like 8, like we would do the school year in Florida because that's where this guy had moved us. And my dad was still back in Pittsburgh. And so they would put us on a Greyhound bus. I don't even think you can do this nowadays. They put a 12-year-old and 2 8-year-olds on a Greyhound.
Yeah.
And we would take that from Florida all the way back up to Pittsburgh and then spend the summer at his house and then back on the Greyhound and back to Florida for the school year. And we did that for 3 or 4 years. But that time with my father was unbelievable. And when Mike and Molly hit, I got to do some great stuff with him. I got to bring him out and dress him as one of the cops in the precinct, and I got to put him in one of the scenes so I can dial him up and see him whenever I want.
Oh, wow.
I got to take him on a special tour of Disney one year to see their animation department, and then we got to go to the park, and they took care of us. So I got to give back to him all those years that he was like, you can't quit. You can do this. Don't worry about it. You can do it. Like that was my rock. My papa was my rock.
You got a lot of range in the paternal department, So I had my dad was kind of a, my stepdad was kind of a, I kept it consistent, Neither one was a bad guy. They're just kind of, like neither here nor there.
I got very lucky with my pop and the relationship I had with him. I really, really, really am grateful. He gave me great advice at great moments. Like before I went to Hollywood, he said, he goes, all right. He goes, now you ain't pretty. You don't know nobody. You ain't got no money. So you better outwork everybody. Mm-hmm. That was his big advice for Hollywood. Then at 50, he told me, you got to get healthy. You got to get healthy, man. You got to get healthy. And then he was funny about it, too. He's like, because if you're old and you're mobile, you can get away with murder. And I said, continue. And he said, he goes, nobody gets mad at old people. You can have fun. Just act confused if you get caught. I was like, this guy's a genius. But the most powerful thing he did was he always taught me that, he was going to keep his sense of humor until he passed away. And I actually watched him do it. He died of lung cancer, but he kept his sense of humor to the last moment. And that was the most powerful thing he showed me because it reiterated what he'd been telling me my whole life, which is the only choice you have is how you show up for people. That's it. How you react, how you approach, and how much you approach. That's it. Everything else is out of your hands. So that I always try to carry with me.
Melissa McCarthy.
Love her.
Don't know her. Exquisitely talented. I think there's a lot. There's people, sometimes more women, where you have to kind of pretend how much you love them, but you don't really love them that much. But, Jane Fonda, everyone has to pretend like she's some sort of sage and she seems like a dope. But anyway, Melissa McCarthy, like you watch her and you go, she's bitch
amazing.
Is funny.
She's amazing.
Man, is she funny.
She's amazing, and she's that kind of person, too. She's a genuinely good soul. And that one of the things with that show was the magic of that cast, because they helped me more than I can ever explain. They took me, because, I came out of a comedy club kitchen like we do. Most of them are formally trained. Katie Mixon was Carnegie Mellon. Reno went to the School of Fame. Lou and Swoozie, Broadway. Rondi come out of Steppenwolf. So I had this amazing, Melissa had already had the Gilmore Girls, and she's the Groundlings in Southern Illinois. And so the way we kind of stuck together on that show was so great, but it all stemmed with the first time me and her read. It was one of those moments in Hollywood where you go, oh, that's different than anybody else I've read with. And there was just a connection there from the beginning that it carried through the show. And
she got super popular in the early parts of the show,
huge,
right?
With Bridesmaids, third year, Bridesmaids. The third summer, the summer before the third season, Bridesmaids came out and shot her into the stratosphere.
Which has got to be difficult, can be, for partners, you.
No.
No. Well,
I always say this. Everybody loves to ask me this, too. They're like, how'd you feel when she became I was in a place where I was newly sober. I had just stopped drinking. I was repairing my marriage, and I had this beautiful gift happen to me. And I was lucky enough to be at that moment in my life where I had that perspective. So the reason I was never jealous of any of that, and I could root her on genuinely from my heart, I could root her on. To this day, we are still friends. I've never asked her for a thing, nor will I ever, because I love our friendship. I love what we went through together. But the reason I could genuinely root her on is because of the perspective I had of what it could be like. Chuck Lorre called me when the show. If you watch the show, the show kind of goes from being like the Honeymooners, the first 2 seasons, to the last 3 seasons. It kind of becomes like I Love Lucy, because they changed the center of the show from Mike to Molly in the 3rd season. And Chuck Lorre called me and he said, he goes, listen, we need to capitalize on the success of Melissa's movie. Rising Tide Lifts All Boats. It's going to put more lights on the show. It's going to make the show bigger. But I need to center her in the story. Are you going to be cool with that? And I said, without hesitation, Chuck, I'll pick her up on the way to work. I'm not going back. Because the gratitude I had was, I couldn't believe what was happening to me. And so I was happy to be a cheerleader when that happened.
I agree. I've been in that position myself, so I understand it. And it's great to be magnanimous and grateful. But there's a practical side, which is when one of your boy band buddies drops a solo album and it goes platinum, you're going, is he leaving the band? Yeah. Like, it's not, I mean, you cheer for them, you're happy for Timberlake and all that kind of stuff, but there's a practical application of they're leaving.
Well, we were very lucky. The day after the Oscars, she got nominated for an Oscar. And the day,
for Bridesmaids?
Yeah, and when she came in the day after, her hair was up. She had spilled coffee on her T-shirt, and she was bitching about the pickup line. And I thought, we're going to be all right. You know what I mean? Sure. She just came in very normal Chicago, and I knew we were going to be okay.
Yeah, so you ended up with 6 seasons,
Ended up with 6 on that one. Yeah, I did 128 of those, which was amazing. I miss TV so bad. Yeah? I miss it so bad, yeah. Here's why I like TV and the movies better than the internet. When you watched a television show or a movie and you saw a true psycho or a true whack job, you went, boy, that's a good actor.
Right.
You see that on the internet and you go, that guy's out there walking around. I'm not leaving the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of want to go back to the written word, you know?
Yeah, and TV's getting really good again. I don't know if you guys have watched any of the new South Park that's going on, but it feels like...
Those guys are always great.
Yeah, it feels like TV, and especially network TV, has kind of figured out, like, we got to start to push the envelope a little bit more.
Every few years, too, it gets so oversaturated, like everything. And then, the cream rises to the top. I think that the important thing is just keep creating, and I think it's a hybrid now. It's a hybrid world, but I think it used to be television and movies, and the internet was a part of that. Now I think it's the internet, and television and movies are a part of that. But I think in conjunction, they can work very nicely.
Yeah. I'm also realizing just now that you are completely shitting on a new bit that I've been working on.
I did.
Yes,
I'm
because
sorry.
I have figured out in the last probably 6 years that skinny is the new sober.
Is that right?
So what happens is we always used to talk about, man, Motley Crue, they were the best, and then they got sober, and then they sucked. And I've realized that we don't really have that now because a lot of the newer generation, they're not a lot of drug users. Everybody's kind of putting away the booze and kind of moving more towards edibles and weed. And so skinny is the new sober, meaning you lose a bunch of weight and now you're not that great of an artist. Jelly Roll got skinny, music's probably going to suck. Adele got skinny, probably going to suck. But you're the only one who dropped a bunch of weight. And I go, you know what? Got better as the weight came on.
I don't know if I got better. I got different. And wrong is not different.
Okay.
But I had to find it. It's weird you said that because I did have to find it kind of a different sound. Like I didn't have the same presence on stage. I didn't have the same... I went from the guy who could walk in a room and go, get out of the way, to, I'm sorry, did I bump you? So I had to adjust to that on stage a little bit, too. And so that's what I've been working on. But I think no matter if you're, again, it's authenticity. It's authenticity.
I would say Motley Crue used to rock, and then we got sober, and now they suck.
Well, there's that, too.
Because I've always hated Motley Crue. I've especially hated Motley Crue all the time.
Yeah.
Never liked them ever or anything ever.
Well, I met them, I came across Motley Crue when I was 9, so to me, especially...
Oh, get hold of you at 9.
I was like, this is the greatest thing ever, and then I saw Vince Neil getting a facelift on VH1, and I went, what happened to the band
I was never
loved?
into the metal or hair bands. I was always into... Like a lot of guys when I was growing up, it was classic rock, a lot of the classic stuff, AC/DC and Led Zeppelin and, you know, stuff like that. And then when I was down south, I got into Southern rock with the band and Little Feat and stuff like that. But then I really gravitated towards jazz because that's what my dad liked.
Morgan and Morgan. There's a reason why Tom Brady's got 7 rings. And there's a reason why Morgan and Morgan's America's largest injury law firm. Over $20 billion recovered for more than 500,000 clients. That's not a slogan. That's results. In one Florida case, insurance offered $350,000. Client walked away with $12 million. They've been doing this for 35 years, fighting for the people. Morgan and Morgan, these guys have a sense of humor too, because I've talked to them before. You've seen the commercials. They're number one for a reason. Morgan and Morgan, America's largest injury law firm for the people, not for the powerful. Am I right, Dawson?
If you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/Adam or dial #law, #529 from your cell phone. That's FOR, thepeople.com/Adam or #law, #529 from your cell. This is a paid advertisement.
O'Reilly. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Yeah. You know the jingle. These guys keep your car on the road. So you don't get stuck on the shoulder looking like a dope. They're friendly. They're helpful. They have service people who know their business. People, they didn't just walk in and hire anybody. These guys have experience, and they'll share it with you. Not some kid staring at his phone. Always used O'Reilly. Still do. Used it back when I had to, when I was swinging a hammer. Couldn't afford to take it to the dealer. Now I do it for my race cars. But let's say you don't know a lug nut from a donut. They'll walk you through it. No attitude, just real help. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today, or you can visit us at O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam.
So I kind of got into that, and then I started really focusing on that. And my dad always referred to jazz as graduation music. He goes, when you're patient enough to listen to jazz, you've graduated. Now I'm still trying to get there. But I love jazz. Art Blakey is one of my favorites, and Cannonball Adderley. I like these guys that they write a song and it's about a story or an emotion, but they let you try to picture it in your head while they're playing it. And I thought that I like to listen to that when I try to write, you know.
I love jazz too, but traditional jazz.
Yeah, not like Kenny G jazz. I'm not a fan of the new wave stuff, but I do the old stuff.
Yeah, and I remember my dad always loved jazz too. And when I had some success, I ran into somebody who ran the Hollywood Bowl and said, I'll set you up for any tickets, any parking. I'll buff you out every time.
Fest?
Here's my number. Yeah, and
That's
I said, I'm going to take my dad to the Playboy Jazz Festival, which they had at the Hollywood Bowl every year. By the way, I think Bill Cosby would host every year. And Bill Cosby...
It just makes it weird now, doesn't it? All those years just makes it so weird now.
Bill Cosby did a lot of, hosting at the Playboy Mansion for the Bunny Olympics and refereeing and stuff. Like, he was always volunteering over at the Playboy Mansion. It was always there, you know.
God, and knowing all that dark stuff now, you're like, wow, man, how evil was all that? You know?
Well, you know, it's interesting. Couple things. I'm always trying to work this real dark joke out, but it's more bizarre if you can find it. Andrew, you watch the beginning of the Cosby Show, and you see him up there making the faces and doing the moves and doing a dance. And I've said, if somebody put a camera on you and said there's no microphone, but there's just a camera and we're going to show it to America, you got 15 seconds to prove you're not a rapist. Go. You would do that.
That would be the dance?
That'd be the exact dance.
I'm not a rapist.
You would
dance.
do.
That would be the dance?
Well, you wouldn't stand there with your arms crossed looking pissed off.
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't leer.
You wouldn't leer. You wouldn't leer. You wouldn't slide your hand down the front of your pants real slowly.
You'd do the little dance.
You would do it. If you just watch this and you go, Bill, There's going to be no sound. You're not mic'd up, but you got 20 seconds to prove to America you're not a rapist. Here we go. Very good. Not rapey at all.
Does that mean Felicia is also a rapist then too, or no?
Nah, but this guy roofie somebody. Okay. Come on, look at him. He loves his kids. He loves to dance. He's fun. Woo! Oh, it's a simpler time. Remember, Ellen danced at the beginning of her show, too.
Yeah,
so
right.
all the angry
dancers.
people.
Be careful with the dancers. That's what we got to watch.
What are you compensating for?
Yeah.
I really mean it. I don't act nice because I don't feel unnice.
Right.
Like, I don't. Like, you ever, women will do that on the phone? Like, they get on the phone with their girlfriends. Hey! Hi! Oh! And then they hang up. They go, that fucking cunt. And they get angry at the person or whatever. I don't do it, but I don't have a thing inside of me that feels like I'm compensating for something, or I need to overcompensate for something.
Right.
You know, I don't trust the outward nice.
You know?
The two. There's a couple of people out there, like, you know, like Henry Winkler.
Right.
He's just a super nice guy.
Yeah.
But then there's kind of saccharine nice. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's
over the top.
Well, I think that might be a little bit of a self issue as well. Like if when you see somebody that's overly happy and you grow up sarcastic, you can't help but go, the fuck are you so happy about? But I don't think that's healthy either.
I'm just saying. I'm saying Bill Cosby danced at the front of his show and Ellen danced at the front of her show.
I can't dance.
And there's something they want us to think about them. And she would always end every show with like, be good people or something like that too, right? And it's like, all right, that's something that a person that had a darker side would hide.
Underneath them?
Well, first off, if you guys remember the first iteration of Rosie O'Donnell and their cutie patootie chub club with I have a date, I've got a crush on Tom Cruise, and David Cassidy's coming in. I worked with the guy who was a producer on that show. He said she was the worst person in the world. Sure. Like the second she was done with this veneer of super nice, she just walked backstage, started screaming at everyone and fired them. Well, now we know the real Rosie. Right. This is the real. It's basically. I
don't know her. So
no, it's like. But what I'm saying is like it's like being gay, but you can't come out of the closet because it'll crush your career. But now you're 65 and you're just gay. You married a guy. You're out. You're open. You know, this is the out in the open Rosie, the angry Rosie. This is who she always was. But that's not going to fly when you're trying to do a daytime TV show in 1996. You know what I mean? So she created this character, which is, you know, John Wayne Gacy being a clown or something. You know what I mean? Like it's like an alter. Not that he's as bad as her, but what I'm saying
is a secret villain double identity.
Yes, they created because they knew this was in them. That Ellen created a daytime TV character that doesn't exist. Right. She's not that person. And by the way, I'm fine with a person not being that person,
but be that again. Be what you are.
Right.
Be what you don't pretend you're not that.
So I live here my whole life, and I would pass the Hollywood Bowl and see the signs for the jazz festival. I'd see it in the Playboy. There's Bill Cosby up there hosting the jazz festival, dancing, and I just thought. And one day. Now, my dad would never go to the Hollywood Bowl, even though he lived 3 miles from the Hollywood Bowl his entire life. And even though he loved jazz, the notion of him buying a ticket to an all-day jazz festival would have been unthinkable. Right. Because it would have been $23 or something. And it was like, he would have never, I don't even know how he would have bought the ticket. Like he didn't have a credit card. So then I got older. I made money. I ran into this guy. Said, like one day, I just said to my dad, I just go, why don't we go to the Playboy Jazz Festival? Like I'm hooked up. We get free parking and VIP this. The guy will give us a booth and a thing. And and we can go watch jazz at the jazz festival, and you love jazz.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, okay. And and it's like a thing that starts at noon, it goes to 10 at night, you know, and it's over 2 days or 3 days. Anyway, Dad and I pull up there, I don't know, 2 in the afternoon. We sit down. First band that comes out is the kind of progressive, new wave, jazzy, Kenny
the
G kind of
keyboard
stuff.
and the
Keyboard's on the strap.
saxophone,
Guy's got guy's keyboard swinging around his lap.
Yeah.
Your keyboard shouldn't be crushing your dick while you're playing.
Yeah.
You should be able to stand back. I like the 80s bands where they took 2 and they moved them as far apart as possible, and the guy would play them both.
Yeah.
I can see when they're setting the stage up. Like, we got to spread them out. They're too close. I need a full squat. Like, I need to look like Lester Hayes out on an island. You know, down. I'm putting stickum on my wrist, you know, like... Someone, there must have been like an attack who went, we should put the Casios closer to, no.
We want some danger involved.
We want danger
we need
involved.
danger involved.
Right. So that's the first one. And then like the world jazz music band comes out. That's the backed up Paul Simon in the 80s band that's got 800 people from some village in Africa playing a gourd, you know. And then another like good looking, you know, 22-year-old progressive guy with the blonde hair, young, you know, white guy doing his We sat there for about an hour and a half. We heard no jazz
Real jazz,
that we recognized. And like at some point, my dad like looked at me and just went, Can we leave? and I was like,
after the big hookup.
And I was like,
So,
you know,
how long you want to stay?
Yeah, I was like, let's just get going.
Well, the sentiment was there.
And I was like, that's on me for trying to do something.
Yeah.
I knew it wouldn't work.
The sentiment was correct.
Yeah, I'm just telling you, the jazz festival, you know, you think you're going to be listening to Dave
we're not
Brubeck
seeing-
for 5 hours. You are not. You're listening
yeah.
to fucking world music and tons of shit you don't care for
Or know about.
or know about.
And jazz guys are in that world. Like, that is what they are into. You get in an Uber, like, you go to Monterey, California, where the Monterey Jazz Festival
that's
is.
the mothership there,
And, and you get in, and there's a guy in there, and he's got on, you know, the funky hat, and the whole thing has got, like, music note stickers all over the car, and he's, like, tapping on the dashboard, and you're like, oh, you play the drums, you jazz guy? Nah, I just moved here because I love jazz.
Yeah.
That's his whole life, yeah.
I would go, but I just need to see the schedule.
Yes.
Like when the Kenny
that's
G guys.
the thing. You got to find the stuff that you dig, and I like that old stuff, Coleman Hawkins, and I like that stuff. But
So did
are
Jim Carolla.
There are some young artists playing that stuff. You just have to seek it out.
I will accept that, but we just hit the wrong pocket.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You know, you were there in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It doesn't get cool till about 7 o'clock.
Yeah, well, my dad's got to go to bed when the streetlights come on. So I always think about Kenny G. Like for me, if I'm picking out an instrument, part of it is, do I like the way it sounds? But the other part is, how do I look playing this instrument?
Right.
You know? And you look pretty good on a drum kit. you look pretty good playing a guitar,
bass,
right? But sax, you look good on a sax. So I'd be like, I'd love that vision of me like Rob Lowe and St. Elmo's Fire.
Up on the roof.
Just up there blowing away and everyone's cheering and everything. But he's playing some kind of weird oboe piccolo thing that looks like he's blowing up.
It's a mix between a clarinet, an oboe, and a sax.
Right, but it's horrible looking.
It does look
just
a little
looks
weird.
like shit. And you look dumb playing it. So there's no...
It looks like that instrument in the band where everybody has the cool instruments, and then you get there late, and they're like, "Okay, you're on triangle."
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
you got what's
what
left.
looks like.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's the sloppy seconds clarinet.
I thought you were going to say the Cantina Band from Star Wars. Where it's like a
that's
weirdo
where I've seen that
instrument.
instrument before.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, you want Rob Lowe, St. Elmo's Fire sax.
Where did you guys meet? Prison.
Yeah. So why doesn't Kenny G trade in that weird dildo piccolo he's playing for a manly saxophone?
I think that's his latest album, Dildo Piccolo.
Is it?
Is that the new one?
And also the hair hair's not helping that thing either.
Listen, man, you got curly hair. You just got to roll with it. What are you going to do?
I got curly hair.
What are you going to do? You got to roll with that.
I know, but there's a way of shaping it where it doesn't have to look like Rachel Dolezal. Deep cut. Rachel Dolezal's hair looked
very
like
curly. It was like spirally curled. Yes,
yeah, but she was
I'm
aiming
happy
for
at
something.
this point to have hair.
You got good hair.
I'm okay. I got to style it, otherwise it looks like a public golf course. But I'm doing all right.
Now, Richard Marks told me that Kenny G's a good dude and a good friend, and he could get him on the show. So I should probably shut
Be
my
nice
mouth.
and have him on.
And then at a certain point, I think it kind of becomes your thing.
The guy's a tremendous musician. It's just that whatever that noise is doesn't sound like the jazz I grew up with. That's the only reason.
He must be able to play an alto sax.
I'm sure he can play probably 8 versions of that horn. Yeah, the alto, the tenor. I'm sure he can play all of them.
Now we're looking at Richard Marks playing a sax.
Now that was a cool. Talk about a cool guy.
Oh, he's a nice guy.
He's a cool guy, man.
I was so disappointed that I wasn't on the show the day you had him in here like 2 weeks ago because I secretly...
He's a cool guy.
He was such a nice guy, and I was such a fan when I was in like 8th, 9th grade. But
was there a better rock song to come to Hollywood in than Don't Mean Nothing?
Oh,
I mean, come on.
Rougiette. Yeah, I know no one wants to talk about this. I'm talking about ED. Trust me. You're not the only guy blocked in the bedroom. Look, it's more common than you think. 30 million men deal with it. That's what a Dodger Stadium full of guys and the parking lot look like. It's a lot of guys. You're not special. You're just a man who might need a little backup. That's where Rougiette comes in. They've got fast-acting ED treatments prescribed by real doctors, delivered right to your door. No more awkward pharmacy runs. No more pretending everything is fine. Stop making excuses. Start making moves. Rougiette. Right, Dawson?
Visit rugiet.com/Adam to get 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com/Adam. Use our code to support the show, and so Rougiet knows that we sent you.
Shopify. Starting a business can be a little bit intimidating. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. from household names like Mattel, Gymshark, to brands that are just getting started. Get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand style. Get the word out like you have a marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. Dawson, take it away.
Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/Carolla. Go to shopify.com/Carolla. Shopify.com/Carolla.
When I was younger, I was a closeted Duran Duran fan. It took me a while to come out.
Sure.
Hold on.
Because all my buddies were listening to The Clash, and I love The Clash.
Yeah,
but I was
I
like,
get
you know,
it.
the girls are dancing to Duran Duran.
Yeah.
We're looking at Rob Lowe, by the way. This
There you go.
isn't
That's
Richard
the St.
Marks.
Elmo
Yeah.
shot right there.
Yeah, he had the Richard Marks hair.
Yeah, he
and
did.
it's very Richard Marksy.
Yeah.
But that is him. Yeah.
Cigarette in the hand, too.
You
Come
had
on.
to. It was weird. It's like, I remember when I first met Kimmel, I was like, what shows you watching? Like, because, you know, when you meet a guy who does comedy, you go, who do you like? You know, what are you you're trying to get a gauge?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he goes, you know, we liked Woody Allen, Albert Brooks, you know, that kind of stuff. And I go, well, what sitcoms you like? And he goes, well, I don't know. What do you like? And I was like, well, let's just say it at the same time. We're like, I like Alf. And he's like, I like Alf too.
That's great.
He goes, I like Alf too. But it was like coming out of the closet, like we're looking around. We know we're going to be judged because he should have said Bob Newhart. So I think he had some street cred, but he liked Alf. And I liked Alf too.
Exactly.
But Alf is Duran Duran.
Yeah, you just
So
get...
you're not going to get any street cred.
But you get older and you start to go, I just like what I like.
Yeah.
And that's freedom.
Yeah.
That's freedom right there. When you like what you like and you don't care what others like without being a jagoff about it, you live a pretty peaceful life.
If Alf could cover a Richard Marx song and be backed up by Duran Duran
with Kenny G as a guest.
With Kenny G as a guest.
Now
that would be the greatest.
Something. Now we got something.
Whatever you do.
Now we got something.
I will be right here waiting for you. Remember those little bumpers he would always do? For some reason, I remember the one where he goes, before you get up for that final snack, I want you to know I got your cat. Hey! And then they would go to commercial. Like, that was great.
It was a simpler time.
Yeah, it was.
In TV... I mean, you were basically riding sort of that last
definitely
wave of network,
100.
Camera, sitcom-y stuff. I mean, my buddy Kevin Hench does it with Tim Allen and Shifting Gears and that kind of stuff. And I'm kind of wondering, like, is there going to be a renaissance? And for you, do you go out for stuff? Do you audition for stuff? Do you create stuff?
I'm actually going to pitch a show to CBS for me and the gentleman who played my partner on Mike and Molly, Reno Wilson, who's a dear friend of mine. He's like my brother. And we want to do one more together. I would do a sitcom thing if the right, because I've done 2 good ones and I don't want to do a bad one. So if the right opportunity presented, but the thing I want next is to try to find a role in a procedural, like an hour-long show, or even on television. Like I want to play the burned-out fire chief, and I want to play or the mayor, or so. I don't need to be carrying the whole show. I don't need to be the star. I love acting, and I'd love to get like a 4th or 5th lead on one of those shows where you're just doing 4 or 5 scenes a week, and you get to do that. You get to be in the playground. You're not carrying the whole show, and you get to be a part of something that you wouldn't have normally been a part of. And now I want to do that. I've had to reintroduce myself to the industry because the industry, the casting changes. They get younger. They don't know who you are or what you've done. So I've had to come in this new form, and I kind of had to give up what I had stapled myself. I was always the big guy. So I was stapled as that, but my health is more important. So I had to change everything. But now I have to kind of start over. And it's kind of that way in stand-up for me, too. It's kind of a beginning again. But as an artist, you love that.
Speaking of stapling.
Yeah.
Was the stomach, was it bariatric surgery?
I did the full Monty, the bariatric surgery, the bypass, and the doctor said there's like 3 versions. There's the sleeve, there's that, then there's some other new thing they're doing now. But for me, that one was the one they said would be best because it has a really high percentage of completely reversing type 2 diabetes. And mine went away. And so I was really grateful for that.
And, I hear great stories about it. I hear horror stories about it.
It's not free, man. There's other stuff that comes with it, no doubt.
And does it, is it Ozempic-esque in that you just cannot eat as much as you used to eat, or does it change the way you eat?
Both. I did Ozempic for the first year it was out, and I was actually a spokesperson for them, but I was taking it for type 2. This is before they knew it was a weight loss drug. And then at the end
before
of that,
they knew it was weight loss.
Yeah, they didn't know it was weight loss.
Yeah, because you used to do the commercials in the park.
But I was just doing, which was ridiculous. I wasn't running. But I was taking that for type 2 to try to manage that, and it did work that way. But they didn't know yet that it was a weight loss drug. If I'd have known that, I may have gone that way. I don't know. I just knew that I was in a place where I had to do something to change because medically I was in trouble. So I got that surgery. But like I said, I always tell people, if you're going to do it, make sure you know what's on the other side of it to maintain it, because 1 in 4 go back to that weight, and it causes all sorts of bad problems if you get heavy again after having the surgery. There's esophageal problems, stomach problems, digestive problems. And so it's not free. I mean, it costs you. You're going to have extra skin. You're going to have, you're going to have absorption with your vitamins that you have to overcompensate for. And there's a psychological, like I always say, the fat Hulk is still in there. Like I'll be cutting a carrot in here. Pizza! I'm like, we're not doing that. Shut up. So,
hey, Kool-Aid.
Yeah, he's in there, man. So you have to really understand what you're embracing. It's a window of opportunity, just like any of these other things, whether it's a weight loss drug, whether it's going to the gym every single day and not eating carbs, whatever you're doing, that's a window to get better. But what comes after that is you have to be steady in treating it every day. I put food on the same shelf as booze for me. It's dangerous. I can't. I hear people all the time go, well, just take a walk and eat some fish. Like, well, if it was that easy, man, every heavy person would do that. But it's your relationship with food. It's how you drink or you use or you eat after a big emotion, right? It was a good emotion. We need to enhance it, get more. It was a bad emotion. We need to comfort it so we don't feel the uncomfortable. So it's about kind of configuring your relationship with that thing. And if you can get that, then you can get to it. And the other thing I always messed up was I always would say, I was always quitting shit on like the first or Monday. Those are my 2 days, the first or Monday. This is it. Right. And then trying to wake up and go, oh, I'm going to be disciplined. Well, no, you're not. That's not real. Mm-hmm. So the food nutritionist / therapist that I have, Terry Hublick, who's amazing, she said to me, you don't just get to decide you're disciplined. And you fought for a while, right? You're a boxer, right? You know, discipline comes from consistency. You get consistent and the reward is discipline. But to wake up and think, I'm just going to be disciplined today, that doesn't get it. Mm-hmm. You have to put the time in, consistent, not going to do it perfect, consistent. Then before you know it, it's a habit. And once it's a habit, you're disciplined.
Did you try many different times?
Oh, dude, I gained the same 35 goddamn pounds and lost it every single year.
Yeah.
Every single year.
So what's the regimen now? Like I've always talked to people that have been through this, what's breakfast, what's lunch, what's dinner, what's the exercise.
It's Groundhog's Day is what it is. And you have to be able to commit to that too. But I'm okay with repetitive because that, again, helps me it helps me not think about the choice. I get up, I have like a little egg white breakfast sandwich that's very small. I never eat more than 12 ounces at a time. And then it's cottage cheese and berries, and it's, I got to get 75 ounces of water every day, my vitamins every day. Every 2 weeks, I'm lucky enough that I can afford to go get like one of those hydration IVs, a Myers cocktail, because one of the side effects of this surgery is after a couple years, you don't absorb your vitamins as well because your stomach goes from being normal size with 3 blood sources to like that with 1 blood source. So you're not digesting and separating like you should. So you have to kind of overcompensate these things.
Now, for those who are listening, should understand your stomach goes from Alto Sax, Rob Lowe.
To the Kenny G.
I'm doing the G.
That's actually the sleeve. The sleeve would be the Kenny G. That would be the sleeve.
I'm painting a picture for people who are driving or hiking right now.
Yeah, I would. My stomach went from the size of a watermelon to an orange.
Really?
Wow.
And you get the IV, the infusion of the vitamins.
I do that every couple of weeks because if you can get it sublingually, that gets into your cells.
And then what's a cheat day look like, and how does that look?
Sundays is a cheat day, and it's 2 slices of pizza, and I feel like I've had a Thanksgiving dinner.
Really?
That's one of the gifts of the surgery is you immediately feel signals when you're full. I used to just eat till it hurt or I was sweating or both. And then I thought, now it's time to stop.
Right.
Because I just didn't have those signals. But now, man, that's it. I feel it and I'm done. I don't push past that because your body will revolt too if you do.
And what are you doing for exercise?
Not enough. I'm really committing to the gym this week because by losing a lot of that weight, I atrophied a lot because you lose it so quickly. So I'm trying to get a routine now where it's 3 days of cardio and 3 days of light weights, high reps. That's what I'm working on.
I'd be interested to figure out, like, I know people, like Dr. Drew likes working out. And I would say I don't know many people who like working out. They go, I feel better when I'm done working. Yeah, everyone feels better when they're done doing a bunch of shit. But look, I feel better when I'm done cleaning the garage, but I don't look forward to cleaning the garage. But everything you don't want to do, you're glad you did, sort of when it's over. But there's a small percentage, and Dr. Drew's one of them, likes it. Like, and just goes, I enjoy it.
Right.
And then there's probably the same percentage of people that are just, they won't do it. Like, I can't stand it. Like, I can't
stand it either. I can't. I hate it. I know what it does for me mentally. And like you said, you leave in the gym, you feel great. But that drive over there is an epic trek for me. Every time. Like, you might as well have, like Indiana Jones, the arrows going at me and the boulder behind me, because I can't stand it.
I've even had fantasies.
It's tough, man.
I've even thought about it. I used to think about it, like back in the days, like driving to the gym. Like I would think, if I get hit and killed by a semi-truck, I fucking pray it's on the way to the gym. If I'm driving home and I get cleaned out by a semi-truck, I'm going to be so pissed when I see St. Peter, right? Mm-hmm. So I'll tell you something that I've kind of figured out is as a guy who, same way. I don't love it. I hate it. I can't stand it. I got a rowing machine.
Right.
And 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's front and center, like it's in my living room. Like you cannot escape the rowing machine. Yeah, and it's like from Little House of Horrors, like feed me, you know. Like you can't watch TV and not see it, you know. And I've found there's a million times where I go, I'm not going to the gym, I'm not getting it together, I'm not getting dressed, I'm not whatever. But that 20-minute rowing machine that sits there, you cannot avoid it. There's never. I don't have enough time. I was run to whatever. And if you can do something, if you can have something like that, because I think the problem is they opened a gym. So funny, but I was waiting for the Equinox gym in Malibu or the Palisades to open up for like 5 months, and they kept
Equinox. That's the real high end gym, right?
Yeah, but I got a free membership because I have a black American Express card.
So they gave you a free membership.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Right.
That's
so
justifiable.
I would never
That's
spend,
justifiable.
$28,000 a year.
It's
on
like going into Air One. You're like, I can't afford to be here.
No.
I was on 2 TV shows and I can't afford to eat at Air One. How's that possible?
No, you can't, but I can. I can't either, but I can. But it's like a mentality.
It's a principle.
I'll say, like, I'll have stuff where, like, I'll have like one of my kids' backpacks or something, and I'll go, God damn, they left it. I got to bring it. I don't want to go. And then my girlfriend will go, well, just throw it in the back of an Uber and have the Uber drive it out to La Cañada. And I'll go, no, you can't do that. No, I'll get an Uber. That's like $63. That's
exactly.
What? No, I'll walk it over there.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll show you. The point is I'll show you a clip real fast here, just because Andrew brought it up. I wasn't going to do it, but the Equinox gym's behind me. That's a gym I used to belong to, and it's been closed ever since the fire. It's been over 9 months now. But good news, fat asses. There's another establishment across the street that opened almost immediately and has been open ever since. Taco Bell. And that's why we're fat.
Yeah.
That gym. So
you know
that
what,
gym.
though, they play. That's like why the dentist gives you a piece of candy on your way out the door. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, sure.
I sat and waited for 6 months for that gym to open. And then it finally opened literally after Christmas. And I was like, all right, no excuses now. You got to go on your way into work. And I went.
Right.
And 4 days after that, the whole place burned down. That's when the fire hit.
There's your omen, Adam.
Right.
Yeah.
And now it's a year later, and the gym's still closed. And that'd be all I needed to go, all right.
That's it.
That's
Load 'em off.
It's with that. But the rowing machine is still there. You know what I mean? And if you can find something, I found the biggest problem people have is it's like you said, I'm waiting till the 1st, I'm waiting till Monday, I'm waiting till New Year's, I'm waiting, and they go, no, you got to do a little bit every day.
A little bit.
And some days you're going to be big, but there can't be nothing days.
Right.
And the problem with a schedule like you're on, like we're on, whatever, you just get home after shooting Byron Allen's show, and it's 9 at night,
exhausted,
and you go, I can't go to the gym. I can't. But that rowing machine's sitting right there, and it's 20 minutes. Yeah. And you cannot justify going, I don't got 20 minutes.
Yeah. That's a healthy attitude for that. Sounds like a fighter's attitude right there.
I used to
that's a good
hate walking. Walking was
you
like,
want to stop using that rowing machine. Just hang one shirt on it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it all becomes like a laundry
Put
rack.
one box or a few books on it.
Yeah.
You'll never move it again.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. I hated walking for the longest time, and now that I live in Las Vegas, I live across the street from the Sphere. So every day I get about 20,000 steps in because I leave the house and I take I go like up the Link Promenade, past the Sphere, up the Link Promenade, out to Las Vegas Boulevard, up through Mandalay Bay, all the way down, come back around. And I only do it for the people watching.
Oh, and he hands out flyers for strip clubs.
Yeah,
but
the
he's
little Mexican guy.
not as successful as you are in the stand-up realm, and he's walking anyway.
I'm not a guy that ever likes to walk outside. I am. That is the one thing I like. We have an elliptical in our house. I like doing it inside. I hate nature. I like being. I respect it. I'm just not involved. I don't want to. Like my wife and my kid love. They'll go on hikes. They'll go to the forest. They love that stuff. I'm a city kid. I like walking in the city. Like when I go to New York, boom, I'm gone. I love that city will carry you. Chicago the same way, but you can have nature. I'm not really like I like the water, but I don't like the beach. Like I need my specifications about it. I'll be on a boat with you, but the sand, no, I don't want to do any of that.
But the moral of the story is find something and just do it. And I talk to way too many people who are telling me I'm gonna get a membership or whatever. It's like just take a hike, just do something, move, just do something,
just move.
Billy, I want to give you a plug before.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you for having me on too. I know you have a busy schedule and a big crowd here. I appreciate it.
We're big fans. Less is More tour.
Yes,
shows coming up December 6th, December 19th, December 30th, all over the country. And I think you should go to Billy Gardell, GARDELL.com for all the live dates.
That's got every link to every little thing that's going to book me. Yes, sir.
And I know you're pretty local, so come by anytime you want.
Well, I really appreciate that. And thank you for having me on, man. I am trying to make my way in the internet world, and I certainly appreciated this. Thank you, man.
Thanks, Billy. All right, we'll take a quick break. Rudy will do the news right after this. Rosetta Stone, give the gift of language this holiday. Rosetta Stone, it's my go-to for learning something new that lasts long after the decorations are packed up and back in the attic. I love how easy it is to fit a lesson in, and there's no excuse for not learning a second language these days, or maybe a third. Even during busy months, just 10 minutes with the app feels like real progress. The True Accent feature is like having a coach in your pocket. My pronunciations actually sound like natives now. I could pass myself off as a local. And it's motivating. No flashcards, no forced memorization. Rosetta Stone helps you think and speak naturally in your new language using images, audio, and stories from native speakers. If you want to travel smarter, connect deeper, or finally show off those heritage roots, Rosetta Stone is where to start. Right, Dawson?
Don't wait. Unlock your language learning potential now. The Adam Carolla Show listeners can grab Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership for 50% off. That's unlimited access to 25 language courses for life. Visit rosettastone.com/Adam to get started and claim your 50% off today. Give a gift that keeps giving. Go to rosettastone.com/Adam and start learning today.
This November, action is free on Pluto TV. Go on the run with Jack Reacher.
Every suspect was a train killer.
Then buckle up for Drive, World War Z.
Every human being we save is one less to fight.
And Charlie's Angels.
Damn, I hate to fly.
Launch into sci-fi adventure with The Fifth Element and laugh through the mayhem in Tropic Thunder.
What is going on here?
All the thrills, all for free. Pluto TV. Stream now. Pay never.
So this is August. The stoned pelican hit the buffet before him, or he'll leave you with none. Oh yes, it's Mike August, the world's cheapest man. Stole the toilet paper from the hotel can. His name is Mike August. He's the world's Such a penny pincher. People think he's a Jew. Merry Christmas, Mike August. But who the song is about, he'd be pissed if he heard it. But he's too tuned out.
All true. We'll keep those songs coming.
Yeah.
Thanks to Rich Banks and Mike as well. All right. I wanted to talk to you because because you're from Minnesota, the whole Somali thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's all up in the news now. And there's a danger to what's going on over there. I think we have a clip of the mayor, and he's speaking in Somali and doing all that stuff. I worry about this. People hate me because I don't like all the diversity shit.
Yeah.
Because it ends up this way, because it can't go any other way. But they call it xenophobic or racist or something. But I want to say this, and I've said it my whole career that I've spoken into a microphone, which is, Somalia is Somalia because it's filled with Somalians. And Mexico is Mexico because it's filled with Mexicans. And Sweden's Sweden because it's filled with Swedes. It is what it is. And Germany's Germany and Italy's Italy. You can say whatever you want about any place. And I made this joke a million times, a million years ago. They go, this thing they do with like all these Middle Eastern countries, they go, it's the people. The people are good. The people are good, honest, hardworking people. It's the governor. It's the politicians. And I go, where are they from?
Yeah.
Yeah. What part of Norway? Dude, your shithole ashtray Middle Eastern country, where do you get? Oh, they're from your country. Oh, they're you. And then you vote them in. Mm-hmm. So let's not pretend that everything is the same.
Yeah.
Somali it's 2025. You guys still have pirates. You understand what year it is?
Yeah.
You understand? You do human trafficking, you have pirates, you have shit slavery, you have shit that we haven't had for 200 years around here. So let's not all pretend everything's the same. And by the way, I would prefer a German car to an American car.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So I'm not USA #1, rah, 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 all the time. There's plenty of other countries. If you said to me, I'm going to get an electric razor, would you like one made in Germany, one made in Canada, one made in Mexico, or one made in America? I'll go, I'll take the German one. Mm-hmm. I'm not going USA, per se.
Sure.
Okay. There's differences. There's differences in cultures. There's differences. We don't, for instance, the United States, we don't haggle. In Middle Eastern countries, if you don't haggle, you're considered retarded.
Yeah.
Like there's something wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's just cultural differences. Okay, fine. And then some involve like female genital mutilation, and we go, well, we don't like that.
Sure.
And then others are like, every night in this culture, Sunday night, the grandparents and the parents, they all come together and they all have dinner together. And I go, good, because my family got TV dinners and ran to separate rooms and watched a TV set. Mm-hmm. Okay, fine. That's a good thing. But don't expect when you import a lot of people from a certain place that they're not going to just start doing whatever it is they did in their place, because that's what they do. LA, when you drive through certain parts of LA, it looks like a goddamn street bazaar. There is cooking, there's sweaters, there's ponchos. There's stuff being sold all over the street. That never existed. It was impossible. I grew up here. Nobody sold anything on the street. You would go to a garage sale on a Sunday and drive around. People sell shit out of their garage. Mm-hmm. There's no commerce. There was no food. There's nothing. Well, now it's here, and we have a lot of it. Well, why? Well, we had a bunch of people who come from a culture who do that. Now, should we be angry at them? Not really. They're just doing what they did in their culture. And by the way, they're playing their music. They're not playing your Motley Crue. They're playing mariachi.
Shout. Yeah,
They go from Motley to Mary. Motleyacci.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now, there are certain cultures that treat women a certain way, treat gays a certain way, treat the environment a certain way. Like there's certain cultures that are trashier, like they don't recycle as much. And there are other cultures like Japanese who are fastidious, right? They clean up a lot. Okay, when you invite all these people in, you're going to get that. And I told you when I was walking through my dad's old neighborhood in South Philly, and I was doing shows in Philly, and I had some time, and I literally went to his old address in South Philly that I hadn't been to since I was 6, and I walked around South Philly, and it's a shit show, and there's garbage everywhere, and there's box springs and mattresses and old sofas out on the street. It looks like what it is, right? And I felt bad for my dad, who grew up in South Philly, and I literally crossed the street. I was walking through the neighborhood, and I just crossed one intersection to the other side, immediately sparkling clean, no more garbage, no more junk out on the street, no more box springs or sofas, nothing. Became immediately clean.
Yeah.
And I, because I'm a pattern studier, I just stopped. It was me and Mike August walking around. He was looking for toilet paper. And I went, what's going on over here? And he's like, I go, well, now all of a sudden it's all orderly and clean and nice. Oh, yeah, there's no garbage over on just across the street. So I started working my brain. I was like, one side must be the city and must be the county or something like that. And the county takes care of their shit, but the city, whatever. And I was obsessed with it, and I kept I started saying to people, I go, what's the difference? We just crossed over Main Street here. And it's okay. They go, this is the Japanese section. I go, oh, they clean up their shit. It's a culture.
Yeah.
That's the Japanese. When you cross Hoover Street, you're in Japanese territory, and Japanese people don't tolerate shit all over the fucking sidewalk. Okay, then you can go, is that good or bad? I don't know. I like clean sidewalks, so I'd be fine with that. So then if someone said, what if we're going to take Japanese and import them into your neighborhood? I'd go, oh, clean sidewalk? All right, I'll do with that. But there are other cultures that are a little more trash-oriented, and I would go, no, I'm not all right with that. So this notion, let's just hear the mayor doing what's bound to happen, because once you keep importing these people, then they become a constituency, and then you have to start thinking about them because that's your voting block.
Sure.
So then the white guy, go ahead.
That's not American. That's not what we are about. And we're going to do right by every single person in our cities. And so to our Somali community, Daman Shabka, Somalied Kunul, Minnesota, Garahan, Minneapolis, Waan, Ku Janila Hai, Waan, Ku Gereb, Taganahan.
It sounds so pandering, doesn't it? It sounds like you're just completely sucking off the people who vote for you that live in that state.
Right. And so what happens is the reason I don't want the teachers' unions funding Gavin Newsom's campaign is because then when COVID comes around, you shut the fucking schools down and Gavin Newsom can't tell you to open them, even if he wants it open, because he needs you and he needs your support and he needs your money.
Yeah.
So now you got Mayor Jacob Fry of Minneapolis, and he has to kowtow to this community.
Yep.
And now we're fucked because their community isn't the same as our community, and assimilation is fine, but you don't assimilate when you become a community.
Yeah.
Because why do you need to assimilate? You got your food, you got your people, you got your language, you got religion, you have everything else. And then they have to bend over backwards and explain that they're the backbone of democracy in this country and everything like that.
Yeah.
But you know it because you live there.
Well, here's the thing is this, he's totally, as you're talking about, like, pandering to the constituency, the people that are going to vote for him, and the people that are on his side. But the second that he does anything that is against them, boy, they turn their backs on him immediately. Andrew, I should have brought this up to you, but see if you can find a video. This was during George Floyd, where during a protest, Mayor Fry went down to go have a conversation with the protesters. And essentially, a woman with a bullhorn tells him to get his white ass off her street, and he does it.
Well, here's the whole thing. It'll never work.
Never.
Big picture.
No.
Big picture, they're always going to fucking hate you. You'll never do enough. But what the problem is this becomes your constituency and your voter block. Bullshit. Then they start laundering money.
Yeah.
And it's always the euphemistic, it's kids first who care the most or whatever, feed the hungry, whatever. And then they start laundering the fucking money because it's free fucking money and they're doing what they would do.
Yeah. And I said this a year ago before any of this information came out about the fraud with the autism centers and all that. Because people would always say, like, what's going on in Minneapolis? It's a total shithole now. And it's not. Everything about Minneapolis is great. That whole city, the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. But St. Paul's got a couple of problems in Lower Town after they put the light rail in. A lot of crime is happening in St. Paul right now. Minneapolis is still pretty good, but it's not Portland. It's not Seattle. It's not, like 6th Street in Austin. It's none of those things. It's a small block. And I always said, if there's anything going on, it's going to be something in government. It's going to be something behind the scenes that we're not seeing, because anytime there's a homeless encampment, we take care of it. Anytime there's something going on, we try to keep our streets as clean as we possibly can. There's going to be something that goes on that's going to be financially, and boom, this is what happens when you see. But this is the video Andrew was I told Andrew about, where Mayor Fry goes down to basically have a conversation, and they throw him out.
That's great. Well, he's wearing a mask at least. I love this.
These are the people that voted for him, and that he's also kissing their ass in the last video we just watched. They tell him to leave.
Well, good. Oh, shame. Shame.
The mayor.
White silence is violence. I love that. I wish you would shut up, bitch.
Community, not cops. Yeah, okay. How did that work out?
Nothing works.
No.
None of their ideas. They're all fucking horrible ideas. None of them work. But so there was this whole money laundering thing, and it was Somalis. And then, of course, if you brought it up, it was a hate crime.
Yeah.
And this is their constituency. And so then the governor, Tim Walz, doesn't want to look into it. I love the lobby of Feeding Our Future. It's got all the kids from all the nations of the world. They love kids like Michael Jackson loved those kids, don't they? They love all the children of the world. And they also love a bunch of fucking free money, and they like to launder it, and it'll go back to their native land where they'll support terrorists. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, you got pirates, you got terrorists. That's an awesome, but we're not judging. You can't judge. It's all great. I love Trump when he's up there. He's like, shithole. We don't want those people. I'm like, thank you. But what is the Somali area like? Like, what is different about it? What's good? What's bad? How's it changed?
Yeah, there's one section of Minneapolis which is called the West Bank, and Andrew or Dawson, you guys can find a photo of it. Look for it. Basically, just type in multicolored apartments Minneapolis, and across the street from downtown where the U.S. Bank Stadium is, across the Highway 35, there's a couple of high rises. These were built, I believe, there's a documentary that came out about it. It was built like in the 60s or 70s as luxury apartments. It was a beautiful place that they tried to get people into. The kind of the hippie region of West Bank tried to get this place torn down. They didn't want people to build it. It was built. Essentially what happened is the Somali community moves into Minneapolis, and they sort of take over the West Bank. And what used to, that's them right there. We call those the crack stacks now.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I've driven past it a couple of times. There was a couple of great music venues and some great bars in that area, all of which have now moved out. A lot of the restaurants, which some of the food there fantastic, but there isn't a lick of English anywhere around those.
I do want to say this to all the peoples of the world. You lived in a shithole that you had to leave.
Yeah.
I don't know why you want to recreate that shithole here. Mm-hmm. But if you're not going to assimilate, then you will recreate your shithole here.
Yeah.
And by the way, you don't flourish.
No.
The Mexicans in Los Angeles don't flourish by selling street fucking food. You're supposed to assimilate, learn English, and become a doctor and a lawyer. That's the dream. That's how it works. But the politicians have decided that they're going to kiss your ass. And so, like, when I was out here years ago, they're like English only in schools. And then, of course, the politicians are like, they need to be bilingual. So, no, they need to speak English and they need to learn English. And that's our language. And you're hurting them by trying to bend to their will.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And now you got this. And then what they get to do is Tim Walz and these guys get just to call everything a hate crime if you want to then look into the $1 billion that got laundered and wasted by these fucking people with your stupid COVID policies.
Yeah. Andrew and I pulled this earlier. This is Tim Walz essentially saying, if there's fraud in this state, you need to go to jail. Okay, well, I don't know. Maybe we turn this back on you, bud.
He's also, I was talking to Andrew about it today, but I think Tim Walz is dumb, right? Like, there's some people he's fucking kooky and he's whatever, but he's also kind of dumb.
Yeah.
There's something dumb about him.
This goes back to the comment you made about guys like Brad Pitt who never really get out onto the circuit and do. We never had this because Tim Walz wasn't in the spotlight. And I was always a Tim Walz guy for years.
No, this is a Robert De Niro thing.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
You think, I just watched the whole 5-part Scorsese thing. If you just watch that, you go, Robert De Niro's the fucking smartest man on the planet. Like, until he shows up on The View, and now we know he's a dope.
Yeah.
Right. He should have never talked. No. The two guys who should have never opened their mouths were Bruce Springsteen and Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
We had them as geniuses. They could have sailed off into retirement, and that's all we ever would have thought. Now, I think of them as dopes.
Sure.
But anyway, here's Tim Walz. Sorry.
Again, my message is simple on this. You commit fraud in Minnesota, you're going to prison. I don't care what color you are, what religion you are. Anybody who wants to help us in that, we welcome that. But sitting on the sidelines and throwing out accusations, and let's be very clear, demonizing an entire population and lying to people about the safety and security of this state is beneath that. And I will just add, as a teacher and as a parent, the absolutely pathetic usage of a slur, not to me, I don't care what he calls me many things, but don't think that doesn't hurt our children, don't think it doesn't hurt people who are dealing with
retarded.
This. And this is not normal, it's not both sidesism. We're solving problems, we're making life more affordable, we're talking about bringing people in, and we're getting this.
Yeah. Anyway, he probably knew about it because people try to blow the whistle, but it was from his constituency, and they're powerful, and they need them, so they're not going to bust them because they don't want them to turn on them. And listen, you know this whole thing where they go, not every single Somali, not every single Somali in Somalia is anything. It's all it takes with any society is a small percentage of people. Like, if you just go, look, I come. In Los Angeles, way less than 10% of the citizens are pirates. It's like 7.5%, maybe 8.2 are actual pirates.
Yeah.
Like, that's way too much. And if less than 5% of them are murderers or rapists, it's way too much. It has to be 0.000.
Yeah.
And so they get to do this thing where they go, most of these people are hardworking, good. Yeah, everybody, but then an alarmingly high percentage, which isn't really an alarmingly high percentage. Like, you wish that was your body fat percentage. It doesn't take 50%. It takes like 7%, and you're fucked. And that's what they don't. Then they go, but these people are hardworking. Yeah, they are. And then there's this group that isn't, and they do what they do.
Yeah, if you bake a cake with high-end ingredients and put 2 ounces of human shit in it, the whole cake's going to taste like shit.
Yeah, or fentanyl. Stop box. You know, I haven't owned a stop box myself, but I've seen them in action, and I'm fully on board. The old problem with gun safes, either they're locked up tight, but impossible to get a hold of in an emergency, or they're too easy to get into. I mean, it's a catch-22. Stopbox Pro solves that with a simple push-button mechanical lock. No keys, no batteries, 100% mechanical, so it always works when you need it most. It's built tough, made right here in the USA, rugged enough for your nightstand or your car. It's TSA compliant, so if you travel with a firearm, this makes your life way easier and way safer. If you know someone who's serious about safety, this makes a killer holiday gift. Peace of mind, wrapped up, and ready to go. Stop box, right, Dawson?
The holidays just got a little safer and a lot more affordable. For a limited time only, our listeners are getting a crazy deal. Not only do you get 10% off your entire order when you use code ADAM at StopBoxUSA.com, but they're also giving you buy one, get one free for their StopBox Pro. That's 10% off and a free StopBox Pro when you use code ADAM at StopBoxUSA.com.
This November, action is free on Pluto TV. Go on the run with Jack Reacher.
Every suspect was a trained killer.
Then buckle up for Drive, World War Z.
Every human being we save is one less fight.
And Charlie's Angels.
Damn, I hate to fly.
Launch into sci-fi adventure with The Fifth Element and laugh through the mayhem in Tropic Thunder.
What is going on here?
All the thrills, all for free. Pluto TV. Stream now. Pay never.
Well, since we're already talking about it, let's start with this. The Trump administration halted immigration applications from 19 countries deemed to be a high risk for producing terrorists and other national security threats.
Well, just the fact, if you really just think about it, in 2000 and almost 26, where it's just kind of accepted. Like, yeah, we have terrorist groups that sort of roam around. Like, could you imagine, like, we're like, yeah, we got groups of terrorists, but they're mostly in Wyoming and North Carolina. Like, just the idea that it's modern times and where there's places where you go, well, there's a lot of terrorist groups there.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. You're on the fucking list. Sorry. And then you go, well, that's not fair to the hard right. Yeah, it's not fair. But don't have terrorists in 2026. It's kind of, it's avoidable.
Sure.
You don't have to have terrorists.
Yeah, there's a reason why Canada is not on this list of the 19 places.
Almost no pirates and very little terrorists. Yes.
Yeah, so, but yeah, Afghanistan, Libya, Somalia, Venezuela, Yemen, all of the usual suspects that you would think would be on this list are exactly on this list. So,
yes.
Yeah. TSA will charge a $45 fee for all passengers without real ID. The U.S. Transportation Security Administration said on Monday it will begin charging travelers $45 on February 1st if their IDs do not meet stricter federal standards aimed at encouraging travelers to get the enhanced identity documents. This honestly, I just got a new license 4 months ago. I don't understand the enhanced security IDs. I don't know what is difference about other than it's an extra $31 at the DMV. Nothing has changed. I don't know why you need this. It just feels like a money grab.
I don't know, but I travel with my passport now because I can't. LA, I hope everyone's sitting down. The DMV is so fucked up.
Yeah.
The DMV is really just I don't want to call it a metaphor, but it's kind of like when you go in and you're going to get your blood work or the doctor's going to give you a physical or something. He doesn't need all your blood. He just needs a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit of your blood, and then he'll go, oh, man, you got low levels of iron, or you're pre-this, or you need that, or you're low in vitamin D, or like whatever. Just a sample of what's coursing through your entire body in order to know everything about what's going on inside your body. The DMV will tell you how that town is working.
Yeah.
And the fact that the LA DMV is always a shit show, it's like I've tried to make appointments. It's like they don't have anything for 4 months. It's always crowded. You can't walk in. It's not usable. It's not a coincidence that DMV's in LA because LA's a shit show. LA doesn't work.
Yeah.
And that is just a manifestation of how it doesn't work. You could really, I'm going to add, all right, so I can move to a town that has a Top Golf, a P.F. Chang's, and a Spearmint Rhino. Those are the
three. The trifecta.
Those are the three. Now, people go, you love strippers and Chinese food that much? I go, no. It shows a certain level of evolvement. It means we're prospering. And I do like strip clubs and Chinese food, by the way. But
sometimes together.
I think my new one I will add was I want to check out the DMV.
Sure.
Like, if you go into the LA DMV, it's just a bunch of angry fucking foreign women standing behind the counter, just glaring at everybody, pissed off, and there's a huge long line, and the place is a shit show. I want to check out your DMV. I want to know about your Top Golf. I want to know about your Spearmint Rhino. I want to check out your PF Chang's. And if I go into that Starbucks and I can just walk into the bathroom without punching a code into the door, I'm moving tonight. Tonight.
To not have to prepay for gas? Oh, what is this, Mayberry?
Oh, yeah, that's another one.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
The Egan DMV, Egan, Minnesota. That is the DMV that I go to when I'm back in Minnesota. After I sold my house and my license was about to expire, I went down there, and you have to have 2 forms of identification to change your address on your ID. You have to have your insurance, and then there's one other thing you need. I don't remember what it is. I walked in with one of them, but my insurance, it was on my phone, and I didn't have a physical copy of it. And I go, I got to get a new ID. It expires in 4 days, but I got to change the address. And she said, well, you can't because you have to have an actual physical copy of the insurance, not on your phone. And I go, oh, well, can I just keep the old address on there? And she said, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And just handed me my ID, and it's like literally gave me the paperwork, and 4 days later I had a brand new license in the mail.
Not in Glendale.
Not in Glendale. No, man, they ain't putting up with that. No. The FDA commish says that
Well, to be fair, we forced a bunch of women, like we told women, you get to work.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I'm going to be a high-powered lawyer in the corner office or a big-time architect. No, bitch, you're going to the DMV. See, we told women, you get to work, but what we didn't tell them is most jobs are shit.
Yeah.
And you're either going to be at the airport or at the DMV, and now they're all standing there, and they're fucking pissed because they work at the DMV, and it sucks. And I think women, they're not as good at masking their feelings when they're unhappy about their workplace.
That's one more thing the Simpsons can say that they were the first at, is putting bitchy women in the DMV with Patty and Selma.
Yeah, that's
they
right.
called that one a long time ago.
Yes.
Yep. FDA commish says that mRNA flu shot will not be approved because it failed in seniors. He says, quote, we're not just going to rubber stamp new products that don't work, that fail in a clinical trial. It makes a mockery of science if we're going to just rubber stamp things with no data. And that was the MO in the Biden administration with the eternal COVID booster approvals for young, healthy kids.
Good.
Yeah.
That
agreed.
Kennedy doing that?
This was, what is his name? Marty McCary?
McCary, yeah. All the guys, basically, all the guys that were right about COVID who got blackballed are now in charge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, great, right? And the more and more, I especially like the story that you and Dawson had the other day about the FDA and about the kids, and the more and more research that comes out, I don't know how much I've talked about it on this show, but it irks me that there isn't enough done and that there isn't enough research and that nobody cares about it. But I am for certain that my friend Ricky is dead because of the COVID vaccine. He was a healthy vegan who lived off the land in Wisconsin, and his wife said, "Hey, we're getting the COVID shot.
The wife, what?
We're getting boosters."
Yeah.
And next thing you know, one of my best friends is now dead with absolutely no explanation. And I always said, I'll leave it to chance. Maybe there was something going on with the family. Maybe there was a heart condition. I'll leave it to chance until we get the autopsy back. And if that autopsy comes back inconclusive, then damn it, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to blame it on that shot. And son of a bitch, if that, the autopsy doesn't come back and it says inconclusive. So to me, I'm thinking that it's got to be something in that.
Well, healthy people should have never got it, especially young people.
Absolutely.
But, it's kind of interesting, which is women used to be barefoot and in the kitchen and pregnant and didn't have the right to vote and second-class citizens and whatever. And then at some point, they caught up, and now they're the majority of college students and professionals and things like that. At some point, they got into some sort of balance. There was an interruption in the balance where they somehow became in charge of all decisions at the House, which guys should have never signed off on, which I think all guys are kind of guilty of that. But they then became basically the custodian of the House. And so when stuff would come along, such as a COVID vaccination, they're like, I'm taking the kids to get them vaccinated. And then you'd go, I don't want to take the kids to get vaccinated. Well, you don't get a vote. So, and they just go do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's nothing you could do about it. And that became sort of the new world order. And the folks and the powers that be figured out that if they're going to be in charge, then they're the people we need to talk to and we need to convince. And so started noticing, like, Rochelle Walensky of the CDC was up there, like, as a mother. And, like, I could see all the dumb chicks sitting home going, look, I'm a mother, too. And she's a mother. Oh, she's a mother first, and then she's a physician second. Or she's a, and then they stopped with the kind of, like, C. Everett Koop, that guy dressed like an admiral from the French Navy from 1871. Like, that guy was up there, scholarly guy wearing an admiral outfit.
Yeah.
That was the Surgeon General. And then we started replacing him. Like, see, Everett Koop looked like a dude.
Yeah.
He looked like a dude who was on the Kansas record album from like the from like the 70s or something. Like, whoever that guy was. I don't know, who was that guy, Dawson?
I know who you're talking about. We'll find the picture. Yeah.
All right. But you know what he was? He was the man, right? Mm-hmm. So then what they replace him with? A spindly Indian waif model. And that guy was like, oh, hey, ladies, I'm one of you. Watch how I cross my legs.
Yeah.
And Rochelle Walensky and then the dwarf Fauci. And all of a sudden, they go, hey, listen, it'd be awesome. You really need to give your kid this experimental injection that he doesn't need, but for me, okay, moms. And then moms listened to us, and then the moms went, okay. Because it wasn't Trump saying it, and it wasn't C. Everett Koop, but he looks like John Milius. What's John Milius look like? The director? Thank you. Andrew, no one knows what John Milius. But that was a dude. And he had epaulets and he had war ribbons and stuff. And that was authority. And then we replaced him with an Indian waif model.
Yeah.
And all these, and then a he, she, tranny, whatever, you know, who was Admiral Levine. And then a chick in Rochelle Walensky. And then they just got there and they started going, hey, moms, listen to us. And they went, okay, I'll go get my kid vaccinated when I don't really need to. Because if it was C. Everett Koop saying, hey, bitches, do this, they'd go, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
For sure.
What the man has to say. And by the way, Madison Avenue's figured this out too. And so what they do is they get hold of the moms and they just sell them shit. It's basically fake science. All the Purell, all the antibacterial soaps, all the wiping of everything down, all the veggie wash and all that. They got a credit card. They're at home. The TV's on. The guy's on the road. He's working. He's out of the house. And they figured it out. So it was really, the whole COVID thing was about weaponizing the women to enforce. Yeah. Every argument I had was with a woman going, you need to get vaccinated. I'm like, I don't. Why do I need to get? They need to get vaccinated. You can't come back. My son didn't say shit all through COVID. My daughter, all she did is explain to me how I had to put gloves on when I went to the supermarket, you know? So they became the enforcers, and we stupidly listened.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't unring the bell because we should have started 20 years ago going, hey, shut up. You don't get to make all the fucking decisions around this place. And by the way, I make the money, so I get a fucking vote.
Yeah.
your plan is I make all the money and you get all the votes. I don't like that plan.
Yeah. It's too bad this wasn't happening like 20 years ago, because as you said, if somebody told my mom, do this for your children, she'd be like, no. Good. Yeah, I'm good. There's no way I'm listening to
Chris
that.
Carolla wouldn't have done it.
No.
What is the guy's name from Kansas?
Robbie Steinhardt plays the fiddle. I'm trying to find a good picture.
You're looking for the record cover, though. I mean, aren't we? No, I'm talking the band Kansas had an illustrated record cover.
Oh, yeah, we've got that.
You got that? Yeah. That's.
I thought you were actually talking.
No.
Someone from Kansas? Yeah.
No, it was the actual band record cover. The guy looked like C. Everett Koop. But anyway, it's our fault for listening.
Yeah.
And then they got all the votes and they got all the control, and then they just did whatever they did. I didn't get a vote whether my kids got vaccinated or not. What do we even watch? What are we even looking at?
Nothing screams dust in the wind like a guy with a shotgun in one hand, a Bible in the other. Beard.
What is it called? What is now,
Who is
Andrew? That's Milius.
Oh.
That's Andrew geeking out. No, I like the Kansas record cover better.
Yeah. That's great, man. Oh,
You gotta find if you can find Dawson Rochelle Walensky talking about summer camp, it never gets old for me.
Yeah.
But that was the mom. So they took a bunch of people and they put them forth, and they were all wafy and wimpy and pussy and female and whatever. And then they tricked all the moms into listening to them because they didn't have a reaction to them. They couldn't have a bunch of big dudes tell you to get your shit together because they wouldn't have reacted to it. And then we got a bunch of people needlessly vaccinated.
When you're talking about how we went from, Coop to spindly, wafy Indian model, the way dudes are presenting themselves nowadays, I'm really taken back by it, especially for how much traveling I do and where I see it. There was a guy the other day, pair of Crocs, pajama pants. He's like 47 years old. Standing in line at the airport. We're waiting to get onto the flight. He's standing in front of me and got a blankie with him so he can take a nap on his 90-minute flight. He's got a man bun. He's got a book in his hand, which I'm all about reading, sure. But he was swinging like a child in line, just swinging his arms. And he came across and he swang a little too far, hit me right in the dick.
Really?
Like, literally just popped back of his hand, just hit me right in the dick.
You should have knocked him out like Joe Pistone.
I was like, wow. And he never really apologized. He just kind of went, oh. And then he moved over a little bit and just kept swinging. Like, you know how an 8-year-old just swings their arms? I'm like, what is happening to people in America? Well, who are these dudes?
Their dudes ceased being dudes.
Yeah.
But dudes also figured out if they don't pose a threat, then they can get some pussy too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. In fact,
there's a lot of that.
The book he was reading was called How to Look Like a Pussy at the Airport.
Well, it obviously did him well. Speaking of, since we're going down this route, the male makeover. Did you know that at least half of all men at some point in their lives will end up, it's maybe more so in America, they will end up with a set of moobs. They'll end up with male breasts. What do they call it? Gynecomastia?
Yeah.
It is on the rise. It is the #1 surgery of middle-aged men in America right now. And it is it's starting more and more at a younger age. It used to start on by about the age of 32, and now they're seeing it start in men at about the age of 18 to 19 years old.
Yeah, because they're growing up on all this shit.
Yeah.
And I've talked to guys. I had a friend who had a brother's son was going through this. Like he just ate canes. That's all he ate. Just ate. That's all he ate. Canes. You know. And then by the time he was 14, he had tits.
Yeah.
Like there. I mean, part of it is weight. Part of it is circulating estrogen. Part of it is plastics. In the environment. Like it's all killing testosterone, killing sperm counts. Like it's basically I wrote a book called 50 Years We'll All Be Chicks. That book's like 15 years old now. We're heading.
Yeah.
We're on the move.
Well, even look at pro wrestlers back in like the 80s. Like you saw Axe and Smash of Demolition. And now you look at pictures of them and you go, dude, those guys had tits. They had actual tits, but like out in the ring. Those were boobs,
I think it's weight, and it's it's weight mixed with a whole bunch of like soybean oil and low testosterone, and just all the environmental shit that we shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, there's no pushback anymore. You know, nobody is in for the last 40 years. Nobody has left 72 degrees everywhere you go. I mean, we start especially Minnesota, we start our cars from the house. We walk through a breezeway through the garage. We get in, we drive, we go to a covered, like a parking structure. We walk to our office. It never changes. There's nothing that's pushing back on you in the elements anymore.
Need some adversity.
Absolutely.
All right. Can't find Rochelle Walensky. Or you do find Rochelle Walensky. I never know if stuff gets forgotten about or not. But if you got her, do it. This is her as a mom. She's very concerned as a mom. This is a woman who's head of the CDC.
I'm still looking for it. It's pretty scrubbed. It usually used to pop up, but
oh, I'm sorry. I figured we had it somewhere in our computer, but that would be not labeled or something. But I do feel like I'd put this in our computer, played it 1,000 times, but maybe it's labeled something differently. But you're saying maybe taken from the scrub from the internet. I love that people scrubbed all their bullshit from lying from COVID. That's kind of nice.
Man, I wish I could do that to most of my career. Just go back and get all those terrible jokes I posted 7 years ago.
Oh, your jokes are great. Get the hell out of here. Well, we're going to have to find it and put it on our computer so we have it, because this is a perennial all-star for me, because I can't get enough of her lying about it. And by the way, all they do is lie, and they're horrible at their job, and then at some point they end up at Harvard.
Yeah.
And then they end up some board on Harvard. They just fucking all end up at Harvard.
Yeah.
Which is another good reason not to send your fucking kids to Harvard. Now, look, Rochelle Walensky may be qualified, but turns out she's a liar. And she was basically told to lie and not to ask for. I was done with her. By the way, you should be done with everybody when she comes out and she said we should reopen schools, and then someone got hold of her from the Biden administration and told her to walk it back, and then she took it back.
Sure.
So, if I come to your house and give you my opinion on how to build your house correctly, and, if I say to you, your door's dragging, Rudy, don't undercut the door. Don't take the door off and plane the bottom of the door. You need to fix the upper hinges, suck the hinges in. That'll pull the door back up. Do not cut that door. And then I leave, and then somebody talks to me from the door division. And then I come back and I go, hey, Rudy, about the door? I think you should undercut it.
Wrong.
I was wrong. Just undercut it. I wasn't speaking as a carpenter.
Yeah, as a carpenter,
I was speaking. I was off the clock. But anyway, now in my official capacity, you can go ahead and think I'm lying, or I've been corrupted.
Yeah, it's usually how it works.
All right. Doesn't exist, and not in our computers anywhere, even though it's been in our computers. Dawson, has this been in our computers, or we just go to the internet every time?
I'm not sure. I always just kind of receive the audio through the mixer, but I was under the impression, it does exist somewhere. We just it hasn't been sorted through. It's not
labeled.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We got to do that labeling thing, which I've been talking about for 11 years. We never get to it. All right, Rochelle Walensky, talking about her kid going to summer camp, has been scrubbed from the internet. I will accept that.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Because she would just look like a lying piece of shit on the internet for the rest of eternity. But now she's off at Harvard, spending money and lying to a new generation of fucking kids.
All of the stuff that you want to find, they get rid of. But all the stuff that they're throwing down our throats right now, like so much. I know you don't spend a lot of time on social media, but the amount of AI fake videos that are coming your way, and they pump them out first thing when you open up that app, boom, right away. Something completely fake. And people are passing this stuff off like it's real. Like, did you see that this inmate who was on trial jumped up onto the judge's bench and then he got up through the air conditioning vent and then out the door, and you're like, and then you watch it and you go, well, this is clearly fake. Why are you guys pumping this out like this is wouldn't have this made the news?
Yeah. I will It looks pretty good now, though, right?
It looks almost, In fact, South Park, speaking of, they just did an episode about this where it's almost like people are making AI revenge porn videos and pitting each other again and putting them out, and people can't tell the difference anymore. It's insane.
Well, you can clear the screen, by the way, from stuff that's old. I will give a plug to you, Ruda. A good plug to me. Tomorrow night, Santa Barbara, California. My daughter and her friends are coming out to that one, so maybe I'll clean it up a little. At the Santa Barbara Comedy Club.
Am I going to do the Barbie in the microwave joke in front of her friends?
I may. She'll probably like that. Saturday, I'm going to be in Corona, Dos Lagos Amphitheater with Jay Morris, super funny guy, and then off to Florida. Couple shows in Miami on the 12th and the 13th at the Miami Improv. You can go down Carolla.com for all that. Rudy, where are your shows coming up?
I will be at Delirious Comedy Club, Silver Sevens in Las Vegas starting tonight all the way through Sunday. Mike Dawson will be joining me on all those shows. Can't wait.
Times.
Yeah, good times. Absolutely. And then the weekend after, Huntsville, Alabama, Levity Live with Jonathan Kite. You can catch me there. I believe it's the 10th through the 12th, maybe. I can't remember the dates. But
So, till next time, I'm Carolla for Rudy Pavich and Billy Gardell saying mahalo.